The silent student. He understood everything. When people spoke English around him, his mind worked fast. Words made sense. Sentences were clear. Movies were understandable. Podcasts were easy. Even jokes sometimes landed. But when it was time to speak, everything collapsed. His mouth froze. It was like his brain and his mouth lived in two different countries and refused to cooperate. He would open his mouth, feel the sentence inside his head, and then nothing, silence, fear, heat in his face, a weak smile to hide the embarrassment. People thought he didn't know English. That was the painful part. He did know English. He just couldn't speak it. Every day, he told himself the same lie. I need more grammar. I need more vocabulary. I'm not ready yet. So he studied more rules, more tenses, more lists, more explanations. And still, when someone asked a simple question like, "How are you?" his mouth betrayed him. This made him angry at himself. At night, he replayed conversations in his head. He imagined what he should have said. Perfect sentences, clear pronunciation, confidence. But imagination never became reality. One day, while watching yet another English video, something strange happened. The teacher said a sentence that hit him hard. You don't have a language problem. You have a mouth training problem. That sentence stayed with him. He paused the video. He thought about it. He had trained his eyes to read. He had trained his ears to listen. He had trained his brain to understand. But his mouth had been silent for years. Unused, untrained, afraid. No athlete expects strong muscles without training. No musician expects skill without practice. So why did he expect his mouth to speak fluently without training it? That night, he stood in front of a mirror. Just him. No audience. No judgment. He spoke one sentence out loud. It was slow, broken, ugly. But it was spoken. His heart beat fast. His voice shook. And for the first time, he didn't stop himself. He spoke again and again, not perfectly, not fluently, but bravely. That was the moment everything began to change. Not because his English suddenly improved, but because he finally understood the truth. Fluency is not built by studying more. Fluency is built by speaking more. This was only the beginning, and the beginning is always the hardest part. Why the mouth refuses to speak. He didn't fail because he was stupid. That truth alone took years to accept. From childhood, he had learned something dangerous without noticing it. Silence is safer than mistakes. At school, when he answered wrong, people laughed. When his pronunciation was bad, someone corrected him loudly. When he spoke slowly, others finished his sentences. So his brain made a deal with his mouth. If you are not 100% sure, don't speak. At first, that deal felt smart. Silence protected him from embarrassment. Silence protected him from judgment. Silence protected his ego. But silence also built a cage. Years passed, and the cage became comfortable. Too comfortable. Inside his head, English was alive. Outside, nothing came out. This is what most people never understand. Understanding a language and speaking a language are two different skills. Reading and listening are passive. Speaking is physical. Your tongues, jaw, breath, and voice are muscles. Muscles do not respond to theory. They respond to repetition. He realized something painful. He had trained his brain like a professor, but he had trained his mouth like a prisoner. Locked, quiet, weak. Another problem lived inside him: speed, pressure. When people speak to you, they speak fast. Your brain understands slowly, and you panic. Panic kills language. The moment panic enters, your mind screams, "Speak fast or shut up." So you shut up. But fluency is not speed. Fluency is flow. A slow river that never stops is stronger than a fast river that dries up. He began to notice something strange. Children speak badly, slowly, incorrectly, and nobody stops them. Adults wait for perfection and never start. Perfection is the enemy. He remembered how he learned his first language. Nobody taught him grammar rules. Nobody explained sentence structure. He spoke wrong thousands of times, and nobody cared. So why was he now afraid? Because now he was not afraid of English. He was afraid of being judged. This fear sat in his chest every time he wanted to speak. It tightened his throat. It shortened his breath. It froze his mouth. Understanding this changed everything. The problem was not vocabulary. The problem was not grammar. The problem was not intelligence. The problem was fear-trained silence. So he made a new rule for himself. I will speak even when it's wrong. I will speak even when it's slow. I will speak even when my voice shakes. Not to people first, to himself, alone, out loud. Every day, he described his day. He talked to the mirror. He explained simple things like a child. No correction, no stopping, no restarting sentences. Flow over perfection. At first, it felt stupid. Then it felt uncomfortable. Then something unexpected happened. His mouth stopped panicking. Not because his English was perfect, but because his mouth finally learned. Speaking is not dangerous. This is the secret nobody tells you. Your mouth must feel safe before it can feel fluent. And safety comes from repetition without punishment. That was the real training. Not grammar, not vocabulary, but courage, repeated daily. And this was still only the beginning. Training the mouth is a daily fight. At the beginning, he made a mistake that almost stopped him. He thought motivation would be enough. He believed that one strong decision could change everything. That if he felt inspired today, tomorrow, his mouth would speak freely. Reality didn't care. The next morning, he stood in front of the mirror, opened his mouth, and nothing came out. Not because he forgot English, because habits are stronger than hope. For years, his mouth had learned one rule: stay quiet. You cannot break a rule like that in one day. So he changed his plan. He stopped trying to speak well. He focused only on speaking daily, even if it was ugly, even if it was broken, even if it was embarrassing. 5 minutes a day, not an hour, not a marathon. 5 minutes that could not be skipped. He spoke about small things: what he ate, what he saw outside, what he was thinking right now. No script, no memorization, because real life does not give you scripts. At first, his mouth felt heavy, like a machine that had not been used for years. Words came slowly, sentences collapsed, silence appeared between thoughts, and that silence scared him. Silence whispered, "You are failing again." But this time, he didn't stop. He learned something important. Silence is not failure. Silence is part of speaking. Native speakers pause, think, restart sentences. Fluency is not smooth. It is flexible. Another enemy appeared: self-correction. Every time he made a mistake, his brain wanted to fix it immediately. Restart the sentence. Apologize. Explain. That killed flow. So he made another rule: no correcting while speaking. Correction comes later. Flow comes now. This felt wrong. He had been taught that mistakes must be fixed instantly. But instant correction trained fear. Delayed correction trained confidence. Day by day, something changed. His mouth started moving without asking permission from his brain. Not fast, not perfectly, but willingly. That was new. He noticed his breathing too. Before, he spoke from his throat. Short breaths, tense voice. Now, he slowed down. He breathed before speaking. Not deep like a singer, just enough. Breath relaxed the mouth. Relaxed mouth allowed sound. This is something schools never teach. Speaking is physical before it is intellectual. You don't think your way into fluency. You move your way into it. Some days were bad, really bad. He felt stupid again, slow again, behind again. But now, he knew something. Bad days do not erase progress. Silence after effort is not quitting. Quitting is stopping effort. So even on bad days, he spoke. Shorter, slower, but still spoke. 5 minutes became 10. 10 became 15. Not because he forced it, because it became easier. Not easy, easier. He began to hear himself think in English sometimes. Not full sentences, fragments, simple thoughts. That was a sign. The mouth was waking up. The fear was still there, but weaker. Fear had lost control. And when fear loses control, progress begins. He was no longer training English. He was training consistency, and consistency was doing what motivation could not. This was the stage most people never reach, because they quit here, right before the mouth starts to trust them, Why wrong? Practice works better than right. Silence. For a long time, he believed a lie. If I practice wrong, I will learn wrong. That sentence sounded logical. It sounded smart. And it kept him silent for years. So he waited. He waited to learn more words. He waited to understand grammar better. He waited to feel ready. Ready never came. Because readiness is not a feeling. It is a result. One day, he noticed something uncomfortable. People who spoke English badly were improving faster than him. Their grammar was broken. Their pronunciation was strange. But they spoke. Every day, mistakes did not stop them. Mistakes moved them forward. This confused him. He had always believed that mistakes were dangerous. But then he understood something simple. Silence teaches nothing. Mistakes teach everything. When you speak wrong, your brain receives feedback. When you stay silent, your brain receives nothing. Wrong sentences create memory. Silence creates fear. He tested this idea. He allowed himself to be wrong on purpose. Not careless. Just human. If he forgot a word, he didn't stop. He explained it in another way. If his grammar felt wrong, he continued anyway. Because communication matters more than correctness. Something surprising happened. People understood him, not perfectly, but enough. And enough was powerful. He also stopped fighting his accent. Before, he tried to sound native. That goal crushed him. Native sound is not a destination. It is a side effect of years. So he changed the goal. I want to be clear, not perfect. Accent does not block understanding. Fear does. He noticed this truth. Many fluent speakers have strong accents, but they speak freely. Many silent learners have perfect understanding, but no voice. Fluency lives in freedom, not imitation. He started listening differently too, not to copy exact sounds, but to copy rhythm. How sentences rise and fall, where speakers pause, how emotion changes tone. He practiced speaking with rhythm, not rules. Short sentences, natural pauses, simple words. His English became smaller, but stronger. He stopped translating in his head. Translation slowed him down. Instead, he used what he had. Limited tools, used repeatedly. This built confidence. Confidence did not come from sounding good. It came from surviving mistakes. Every mistake he survived told his brain, this is safe. And safety created speed. Not fast. Speed. Comfort. Speed. Then something important happened. He laughed at his mistakes. Not loudly, not proudly, just quietly. And that laugh broke a wall. Because the moment you can laugh at yourself, fear loses its job. This was a turning point. He was no longer fighting English. He was walking with it. Still slow, still imperfect, but moving. And movement beats perfection every time. The first real conversation, talking alone, was safe. No judgment, no eyes, no reactions. But real life does not talk to mirrors. Real life talks back. And that scared him more than anything. For days, he delayed it. I need more practice. My pronunciation is not ready. I will start next month. These were not plans. They were fear in good clothes. Deep inside, he knew the truth. If he did not speak to a real person, his English would stay trapped in his room forever. So he chose the smallest risk possible. Not a group, not a native speaker, one person, someone patient, someone imperfect, someone human. Before the conversation, his body reacted. Heart faster, hands cold, breathing shallow. This was not language fear. This was social fear, the fear of being seen. He reminded himself of one rule. I am here to communicate, not to perform. The conversation started. Simple greetings, simple answers. His voice was low at first, almost hiding. Then came the first mistake. A wrong tense, a missing word. He waited for judgment. It did not come. The person nodded, answered, continued. That moment surprised him. The world did not end. The conversation moved forward with mistakes. Then something worse happened. He did not understand a sentence. Before, this would make him freeze, smile, pretend. This time, he did something new. He said, "Can you say that again, slowly?" That sentence was not perfect, but it was brave. And bravery unlocked clarity. The person repeated it. slower, clearer, understanding, return. He realized something powerful. Fluency grows faster when you admit confusion. Pretending blocks. Learning, asking opens doors. Minutes passed. Not smooth, not elegant, but real. He noticed his brain working differently. Less translation, more reaction. He was listening to respond, not listening to survive. When the conversation ended, he felt exhausted, not happy, not confident, just alive. His mind was quiet, no self-attack, no replaying mistakes, just relief. He had crossed a line, from practice to reality, from safety to growth. That night, something strange happened. He spoke English in his head without fear. Short thoughts, natural, not because he was fluent, because his brain had proof. Speaking is survivable. That proof mattered more than vocabulary. The next conversations were not easier, but they were possible. Each one shaved a little fear away, not all at once. Piece by piece, he learned another truth. Confidence is not built before speaking. It is built after surviving speaking. Most people wait for confidence. Confident people move without it. This was not magic. This was exposure. Slow, controlled, honest. And once you start talking to real people, there is no going back. The cage door is open, even if you still stand near it. Listening is not passive, it is training. For a long time, he believed listening was the easy part. You just listen. Speaking is the hard skill. That belief slowed him down more than he knew. Because listening is not hearing sounds. Listening is processing under pressure. In real conversations, people do not wait for you. They speak fast. They swallow words. They change direction mid-sentence. Textbooks don't prepare you for that. So every time he listened to real English, his brain panicked. Not because the words were advanced, because they came without pause. He tried to understand everything, every word, every sentence. That was his mistake. Understanding everything is not the goal. Understanding enough is. Native speakers don't hear every word either. They catch meaning, not details. Once he understood this, he changed how he listened. He stopped pausing videos every 5 seconds. He stopped translating in his head. Instead, he listened for anchors, key words, emotion, context. If he missed one sentence, he let it go. This felt irresponsible at first, but it trained something important: tolerance for uncertainty. Language fluency requires comfort with not knowing. He also listened badly on purpose. He played podcasts while walking, while cleaning, while tired, not to understand, but to expose his brain. This removed pressure. No testing, no performance, just sound. Slowly, patterns appeared, common phrases, repeated rhythms. His brain started predicting. Prediction is the beginning of fluency. He noticed something else. When he listened calmly, his speaking improved. Because speaking borrows from listening memory. You don't build sentences, you recall them. This is why memorizing grammar rules doesn't help speech. Speech comes from stored sound. He started shadowing, not perfectly, not loudly, just repeating what he heard. Half a second later, broken, incomplete. That was fine. The goal was not accuracy. The goal was muscle familiarity. He also stopped listening to perfect English only. He listened to accents, broken English, real conversations, because real life does not speak textbook English. This removed another fear. He realized, if others can speak imperfectly, so can he. Listening became less stressful, more natural, more forgiving. Then something unexpected happened. He stopped translating, not fully, but less. Meaning arrived before words. That was a milestone. His brain was learning direct connection. English to meaning, not English to native language to meaning. This took time, weeks, months. But it was happening. He learned a powerful rule. If listening feels too hard, you are listening too perfectly. Relaxed listening builds speed. Tense listening builds fear. By the end of this stage, he noticed conversations felt slower, not because people spoke slower, because his brain panicked less. And when panic leaves, clarity enters. Listening was no longer passive. It was active training, quiet, daily, unseen, but powerful. Why you feel worse right after you improve. After weeks of practice, something strange happened. He felt worse, not a little worse, much worse. His mistakes felt louder, his pauses felt longer, his confidence felt thinner. This confused him. I was better last month. I'm getting worse. Maybe this method doesn't work. This thought is where most people quit. Because improvement does not feel like improvement at first. It feels like exposure. Before, he was unaware. Now, he was aware. And awareness hurts. When you know nothing, mistakes feel invisible. When you know more, mistakes feel obvious. Skill increases faster than confidence. That gap creates discomfort. His listening improved, so he noticed more errors in his speaking. His vocabulary grew, so he felt limited by what he couldn't say. This is not regression. This is calibration, like adjusting a lens. The image gets blurry before it gets clear. He learned something important. Feeling worse is often proof you are leveling up. Beginners feel confident because they don't see complexity. Intermediate learners suffer because they see everything. This stage is dangerous because your brain lies to you. It says, you were happier before. You should stop. You are not talented. Talent is irrelevant here. This is endurance. He changed how he measured progress, not by feelings, by behavior. Was he speaking more than before? Yes. Was he avoiding conversations less? Yes. Was he recovering faster after mistakes? Yes. Those were facts. Feelings were noise. He also stopped comparing timelines. Some people improved faster, some slower. Comparison poisoned motivation, so he focused on his past self. 1 month ago, 3 months ago, progress became visible, not dramatic, but real. He also learned to rest, not quit. Rest. Burnout feels like failure, but it is not. Rest is part of growth. He reduced pressure, shorter sessions, more consistency. This stabilized him. Then came acceptance. He accepted that discomfort is not a sign to stop. It is a sign to continue carefully. If learning feels easy, you are probably not learning much. Comfort is for maintenance. Discomfort is for growth. Once he accepted this, the panic reduced. He stopped fighting the feeling. And feelings lose power when you stop fighting them. Slowly, confidence returned. Not loud confidence, quiet confidence. The kind that does not need proof. He understood something deep. Progress is not a straight line. It is a spiral. You pass the same point again, but at a higher level. This knowledge saved him. Because now, when the next low came, he recognized it. And recognition creates stability. The voice inside your head. Before he feared people, he feared himself. There was a voice inside his head. Not loud, not dramatic, constant. Every time he spoke English, the voice commented, "That sounded stupid. Why did you say it like that?" They noticed your mistake. This voice did more damage than any listener. Because people forget your mistakes, your mind records them. For years, he believed that voice was helping him. He thought it was discipline, high standards, self-awareness. It was not. It was self-attack. And self-attack drains energy faster than failure. He noticed something important. When he spoke to others kindly, he spoke to himself harshly. That contradiction was strange. He would never say to a learner, "You're terrible. Stop talking." But he said it to himself daily. So he changed one thing. Not his language, routine, not his schedule, his self-talk. Not with fake positivity, not with lies, with neutral honesty. Instead of, "I'm bad at English," he said, "I'm learning English." Instead of, "That was embarrassing," he said, "That was practice." This felt weak at first. His brain wanted punishment, because punishment felt familiar. But familiarity is not effectiveness. He learned this truth. You cannot scare yourself into fluency. Fear creates silence. Safety creates repetition. He also stopped replaying conversations. After each interaction, his mind wanted to analyze every sentence. He cut it short. One question only. What went better than last time? Not perfect. Better. This retrained his focus. Progress lives where attention goes. He also separated identity from performance. Making a mistake did not mean, "I am bad." It meant that sentence was unclear. Small change, huge impact. Language mistakes are technical, not personal. Once he accepted that, shame weakened. Another shift happened. He stopped chasing motivation. Motivation is emotional, unstable. He built routine instead. Routine works even when you feel bad. On tired days, on boring days. This protected him from his moods. The voice inside his head slowly changed tone. Not supportive, just quieter. And quiet is powerful. Because in quiet, learning happens. He realized something deep. How you speak to yourself becomes how you speak to the world. Confidence outside starts with respect inside. This was not a sudden transformation. It was daily maintenance, correcting the voice. Again, again, again. But each correction made the path smoother. By the end of this stage, he noticed. He spoke more freely, not because he was better, but because he was less cruel to himself. And sometimes, that is enough to move forward. The power of environment. He believed the problem was inside him, his memory, his accent, his confidence. But slowly, he discovered something uncomfortable. The problem was often the room. In some places, his English disappeared. In others, it flowed. Same person, same language, different environment. He noticed patterns. Around people who corrected him constantly, his mouth closed. Around people who listened patiently, his words came easier. This was not weakness. This was biology. The brain speaks when it feels safe. It shuts down when it feels judged. Language needs permission, not from teachers, from atmosphere. He stopped blaming himself for freezing. Instead, he studied the space. Was it rushed? Was it competitive? Was it critical? Those environments reward silence. So he changed his exposure. He chose spaces where mistakes were normal. Small groups, casual conversations, online chats with learners. Not because they were easy, because they were sustainable. This is something ambitious people hate to hear. Growth does not happen in the hardest place. First, it happens in the right place. He also changed how he entered rooms. Before, he entered, trying to impress. Now, he entered, trying to connect. Different energy, different result. He listened more, spoke less at first. This reduced pressure. Pressure kills language faster than lack of skill. He learned to leave bad environments early, not dramatically, not angrily, quietly. Protecting your learning space is not arrogance. It is strategy. He also learned something surprising. Sometimes, you are the environment. If you bring tension, others feel it. If you bring calm, conversation opens. So he slowed down his body, relaxed shoulders, steady breath. Language follows posture. This changed how people reacted to him. They slowed down. They listened better. Environment is invisible, but powerful. Once he respected it, progress accelerated. Not explosively, consistently. And consistency builds fluency. Time is not your enemy, impatience is. At some point, he became obsessed with time. How long will this take? Why am I still not fluent? Others learned faster. Time turned into a judge. Every week without visible results felt like failure. Every slow conversation felt like proof he was wasting his life. This pressure did not come from English. It came from comparison. Again, he realized something uncomfortable. He was trying to rush a process that grows only when left alone. Language is not built by force. It is built by exposure. You cannot pull a plant to make it grow faster. You can only water it and wait. Waiting felt unbearable, because waiting looks like doing nothing. But he was not doing nothing. He was listening daily, speaking daily, making mistakes daily. Growth was happening quietly, silently. That silence confused him. Modern life teaches speed. Language teaches patience. These two do not agree. He noticed people who quit often said the same thing. I practiced a lot, but I didn't see results. They were measuring the wrong thing. Fluency does not show up as a moment. It shows up as less fear, less hesitation, less panic. Those changes are invisible, until one day, they are not. He remembered how he learned to walk. He did not wake up fluent in walking. He fell, stood, fell again. Nobody timed him. Nobody compared him. Why was he now punishing himself? He changed his relationship with time. Instead of asking, "When will I be fluent?" he asked, "Can I stay consistent long enough?" That question was honest. He accepted this truth. Fast learners are not better, they just stay longer. Staying is the real skill. He also stopped counting days. Counting created pressure. Pressure created tension. Tension blocked speech. He measured months instead. Big enough to see change. Small enough to stay hopeful. He learned to enjoy small signs. Understanding jokes. Replying without translating. Feeling relaxed mid-sentence. These were victories. Not flashy, but real. The need to rush slowly disappeared. Not fully, but enough. And when impatience lost power, progress felt lighter. This was not the end, but it was stability. And stability keeps people moving when motivation dies. When others see progress before you do. One day, something unexpected happened. Someone said to him, "Your English is getting really good." He smiled, said thank you, and immediately thought, "They're just being polite." That moment revealed a problem. He had changed, but his self-image had not. For years, he saw himself as the one who can't speak. That identity had roots, deep roots. Even when evidence changed, the label stayed. This is more common than people admit. Growth often outpaces self-belief. Others notice your progress before you allow yourself to. He started hearing it more often. "You sound more confident. You explain things clearly now." Each compliment created discomfort, not joy. Discomfort. Because accepting progress meant letting go of an old story, and that story had protected him. If he was bad at English, failure was expected. But if he was improving, expectations rose. Pressure returned, so his mind resisted. He minimized progress, focused on mistakes, ignored wins. This is not humility. This is fear in disguise. Fear of responsibility, fear of being seen. He had to confront a hard truth. Staying small can feel safer than growing, because growth changes how others treat you, and how you treat yourself. He practiced receiving feedback differently, not arguing, not rejecting, just listening. Thank you, and silence. No explanation, no self-attack. At first, this felt fake, but over time, something shifted. He started trusting external mirrors, not blindly, but respectfully. He compared feedback over time. Different people, same message. That was data, not ego. He also noticed something important. People were reacting to how he spoke, not how perfectly. Calm voice, clear intention, willingness to continue. Those mattered more than grammar. This helped him accept progress, not as an identity, but as a process. "I am improving" felt safer than "I am good." Good feels final. Improving feels alive. This reduced pressure. He allowed himself to stand in the middle, not beginner, not fluent, learner, and that was enough. By accepting that others saw growth, he slowly gave himself permission to see it too, not proudly, honestly, and honesty builds stability. When English becomes a tool, not a test. For a long time, English was a test. Every sentence felt like an exam. Every conversation felt like evaluation. Pass or fail, good or bad. That mindset was exhausting. Then one day, something small happened. He needed English, not for practice, not for learning, for life. A simple task, a real need. He had to explain something, ask for help, solve a problem. There was no time to prepare, no script, no perfect sentence, just urgency. And in that moment, something changed. He spoke, not beautifully, not correctly, but effectively. The message landed, the task was solved, and nobody corrected his grammar. That surprised him. He realized something powerful. Language exists to solve problems, not to impress people. The moment English stopped being a performance, it became useful, and usefulness builds confidence faster than praise. He began using English for real purposes, reading instructions, asking questions, helping someone else. These moments were not dramatic, but they were meaningful. Because meaning removes fear. When you care about the outcome more than the language flows. He also noticed something else. When English was connected to his identity, pressure increased. When English was just a tool, pressure disappeared. You don't panic about using a spoon. You just use it. That was the shift. English became a spoon. Imperfect, sometimes messy, but effective. He stopped thinking, how do I sound? He started thinking, what do I need to say? That focus changed everything. Mistakes became irrelevant. Clarity became the goal, and clarity improved naturally. He learned that fluency is not speaking without mistakes. Fluency is speaking without fear of mistakes. The more he used English in real situations, the less special it felt. And when something is not special, it is not scary. This stage did not feel exciting. No sudden breakthroughs, no applause, but it felt solid, grounded. English was no longer something he was chasing. It was something walking beside him, quietly, reliably. And once language becomes part of your life, not a separate activity, it stops running away from you. The days you fall back, it always happens, no matter how far you go. One day, you wake up and feel worse. Words don't come. Listening feels heavy. Confidence disappears. Your mind says, I lost it. I'm back to the beginning. That thought hurts more than the struggle itself, because it feels unfair. After all that effort, after all those conversations, why does it feel like nothing changed? Here is the truth. Most people don't hear. You did not fall back. You are just tired. Growth does not move forward every day. Sometimes it pauses. Sometimes it hides. The brain needs rest to reorganize. But rest looks like failure when you don't understand it. He learned to recognize these days. Low energy days, doubt days, silent days. Before, he fought them, pushed harder, forced speech. That made it worse. Now, he did something different. He reduced expectations, not effort. Expectations. He spoke less, listened more. He allowed his English to be quiet. Silence. This time was not fear. It was recovery. This is an important difference. Silence from fear blocks growth. Silence from rest protects growth. He stopped judging bad days. He treated them like weather, temporary, uncontrollable. You don't argue with rain. You wait. He also remembered his evidence, past progress, past conversations, past successes. Evidence defeats emotion. Emotion lies when tired. He kept his routine small, 5 minutes, 1 sentence, 1 thought, enough to stay connected, not enough to burn out. Slowly, the fog lifted, not suddenly, naturally, and when it did, his English returned, stronger, calmer. Each fall back taught him resilience. He stopped fearing bad days, because fear makes them worse. Acceptance makes them shorter. This stage taught him a deep lesson. Consistency is not never falling. It is always returning, and returning is a skill. One he was finally learning, building a new identity through English. By now, he had changed. Not overnight, not perfectly, but deeply. English was no longer a challenge he feared. It was part of his life, part of his identity. He noticed something he hadn't before. The old voice in his head, the one that said, "You can't do this. You're not good enough." It was quieter, not gone, but quiet enough to listen to himself instead. He started speaking naturally, not because he was fluent, but because he trusted the process and himself. This trust affected more than English. It changed how he approached life. Small decisions became easier. Small risks felt possible. Small failures became lessons. He realized that identity is not created by outcomes. It is created by action. Every day he practiced, every conversation, every mistake, he repeated silently to himself, "I am a learner. I am capable. I improve." And slowly, it became true. Not because others said so. Not because his English was perfect, but because he witnessed his own growth. He also saw another truth. Progress is invisible until you step back. When you are inside the process, you only see mistakes, confusion, slow sentences. But looking back, every step mattered. Every conversation mattered. Every day of practice mattered. This made him kinder to himself. No more punishing thoughts. No more hiding mistakes. Mistakes became proof of effort. Effort became proof of identity. And identity became freedom. He noticed a change in his environment too. People responded differently, not because he was perfect, because he was present, because he was consistent, because he showed up. He also realized something extraordinary. Fluency is a mirror. It reflects your mindset, your courage, your patience, not just your vocabulary, not just your grammar. He smiled, not because he had reached the end, but because he finally trusted himself enough to keep going. And that trust made English easier, life easier, himself easier. The moment you realize you've changed. He woke up one morning, and something was different. Not in his room, not in the world, inside him. The voice that used to criticize every word was quieter, not gone, just quieter. He no longer felt panic when speaking, no hesitation when listening, no shame when making mistakes. He spoke English that day without thinking. Sentences came naturally, ideas flowed. He understood others without translating, and he realized this wasn't magic. This was consistency, daily effort. Mistakes survived, fear faced, small steps repeated. He remembered the beginning, the boy who compared himself constantly, the boy who feared his own voice, the boy who froze at every conversation. Now, that boy existed only in memory. He felt pride, not loud pride, quiet pride, the kind that does not need applause, the kind that does not require comparison. He also noticed something else. Progress was not about perfection. It was about courage to continue, to start again every day, to speak when scared, to listen when confused, to fall and rise again. He realized mistakes were not obstacles. They were signs of growth. Each error had taught him patience. Each pause had taught him awareness. Each struggle had built resilience. He smiled to himself. The mirror reflected someone new, not flawless, not complete, but brave, capable, alive. And he understood something very important. Mastery is not reaching the end. Mastery is learning to keep moving when the path is hard. He also understood that learning a language is a mirror for life. Everything he learned in English applied to everything else. Consistency beats bursts of motivation. Exposure beats comfort. Effort matters more than talent. Self-compassion beats self-criticism. Patience beats impatience. The boy had become a man in his own mind, not because the world approved, not because he was perfect, because he witnessed his own growth, and that was enough. He sat quietly, thinking about all the conversations, mistakes, fears, and small victories. Everything mattered. Every step mattered. Every failure mattered. For the first time, he felt calm, peaceful, enough. Because he knew now, success is not measured by comparison. Success is measured by progress. Progress is measured by your own courage to continue. And that courage, once cultivated, lasts forever. From the first day, he compared himself to everyone. To the day, he finally spoke with confidence. This journey was not about perfection. It was about courage, consistency, and growth. He learned that comparison steals peace. Mistakes are teachers, not enemies. Silence, rest, and patience are part of progress. Real learning happens in the right environment. Self-compassion is more powerful than criticism. Every small step, every conversation, every failure mattered. Progress is personal. Your journey is yours alone. No one else's path defines you. And the most important lesson, keep moving forward, no matter how slow. Your courage to continue is your true success. If this story inspired you, don't wait. Start your own journey today. Share your first small step in the comments. Subscribe for more motivational stories that help you grow. Like if you believe progress is personal, not public.